What's up, creepers, and welcome to Headlines and Shenanigans. Our first Headlines and Shenanigans back from our summer break, where we did this every single week, which was a lot of fun, actually.
It was a good, palate cleanse. It was like a good little hold me over type deal.
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was a good way to stay fresh on the mic, but not discuss grueling murders every single week, day in and day out.
Gotta keep these pipes all fresh.
That's right. That's right. But yes, we are glad to be here with you on the free platform on Patreon. We covered two brutal cases. One of Eldon Samuel III. I don't want to give away too much. There's not a whole lot out there on this case, but we are glad to be here. We're glad to be here with you on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and we are going to get started here. What do we got, Andy? We got two things in the headlines that I suggested for the first Headlines and Shenanigans ever.
Yeah.
I actually picked the topics because they just couldn't be ignored. They couldn't be ignored.
They've been a lot. Well, especially one we're going to talk about first. If you guys have seen anything over the past few weeks and stuff, since we're not doing Headlines and Shenanigans every week, we're not doing Strange Shorts every week. We're going to try and do these once a month now, and it's going to be the biggest headlines of the previous month to an extent.
So you got a lot to choose from, so they better be good is what you're saying, Andy.
So yeah, if you guys have somehow managed to avoid all of this, I'm impressed, I'm amazed. But our first story we're going to talk about is the headline of good old Danny Masterson finally getting sentenced and for 30 years for the two rape charges that he was finally, get convicted of.
Right.
Over the past several months, there's been several different, I guess it's over years almost at this point, there have been allegations against
early
Danny
2000s,
Masterson.
I think they were coming out, right? Or that's when they allegedly happened.
Yeah, that was when they allegedly happened, was in the early 2000s, kind of, height of his fame and stuff like that. Masterson, if you don't know, he was Hyde on that 70s show. A lot of our generation grew up watching that 70s show.
One of my favorite characters on that 70s show.
He was the cool one on the show.
How far you have fallen, Hyde.
He was the cool guy. He was
right?
I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
But no, this guy right here, prosecutors argued that Danny Masterson, 47, had relied on his status as a prominent Scientologist to avoid the accountability for all this time. So,
I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even know he was in Scientology.
That's impressive, too, because that's another
didn't
thing.
know.
They've tried to keep that as they tried to keep that out of the headlines as much as possible. They didn't want it to just be Scientologist
you think
charged with murder, charged with rape.
Exactly.
They didn't want that to be the headline. They wanted it to be celebrity. They wanted it to be Danny Masterson.
Imagine that. Scientology wanting to stay out of the headlines. Wow.
But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff from this Church of Scientology that's come out. There's been some of his victims. Several of the women who accused him also reported being kind of threatened and reported being kind of tried to be hushed by the church. And it's never a good look when the Church of Scientology comes knocking at your door with an NDA. It's never a good look when that's your wake up call.
Right.
But so yes, Danny Masterson has now been charged. We were kind of following his trial over the summer, and there was a lot of different things going around. We saw the embarrassing kind of character letters that came out and the little vlogs from Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. And,
right.
You can only defend a friend so much. You see people all the time. They're like, I thought it was my friend. Thought it was one person. It wasn't.
Right.
So we people have started kind of questioning them a little bit as well. Like, how much did you know? You guys partied a lot back in the early 2000s. There's a lot of questionable interviews.
Ashton
with you
Kutcher he's put his foot in his mouth quite a bit involving Danny Masterson. He's claimed that he was his mentor and that he looked up to him on the set of that 70s show,
like
and
he
was kind of like a model of how people should act and treat each other. It's like, oh man,
he was a model for how you should be a young celebrity and how to handle fame. He handled it all right. The actor has been convicted after three women, like you talked about, testified that he sexually assaulted them at his Hollywood home between the years of 2001 and 2003. So that is, like I said, prime, that 70s show era.
Right.
The jury heard multiple testimonies that he had given them drugs before he assaulted them, kind of backing their testimony. And he was found guilty of rape against two of his three accusers. The charges brought by the third accuser were declared a mistrial, and prosecutors said they do not plan to retry the case. And this may just be my personal opinion. A lot of times when I hear mistrial, that usually always comes off as the guilty person got off somehow. Like when there's a mistrial in something, it's never like a mistrial on a good thing.
No, it's not like, I'm
always
sure they'll find him innocent on the next one.
Yeah, you never get a mistrial on your parking tickets. You never get a mistrial on, a misdemeanor.
It's a big deal, right? Is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's usually the guilty person got off because of a technicality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Allison Anderson, a lawyer representing the two of the victims, said that this is a BBC article. We're kind of quoting on this because you know what? Let's get a foreign opinion. Let's not just stick with all the American news.
Why not?
But they said that the women have displayed tremendous strength and bravery by coming forward to the law enforcement and providing 2 direct statements for these grueling criminal trials. So one of the things everybody was kind of watching after all these women came forward, a lot of people were following his wife. And his wife, if you guys don't know who that is, her name is Bougie. I think it's pronounced, Bijou. Her name is Bijou Phillips.
Okay.
She is actually a lifetime member, I believe, of the Church of Scientology.
As is Danny Masterson, right?
He's not a lifetime member, I don't believe. I think he kind of got on during his early fame. That's when they
some sources have called him a lifetime member, but I don't know how long you have to be, a member. Is it 20 years and now you're a lifetime member? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, he could have been a member that long. I mean, he's been in Hollywood since the late 90s, so could have easily been a member for 20 plus years.
Exactly. His wife, Bijou Phillips, everybody was kind of wondering what she was going to end up doing. She was kind of standing beside him and stuff. And if you don't know who she is, I believe she's related to Wilson. Is it Wilson Phillips? Or who is it?
You're asking the wrong guy. I can look it up.
I think it's Wilson Phillips or something like that. But she's actually a kind of a legacy in Hollywood. Her family has been around for a while. She's got some famous relatives and stuff. But she is, just as of 2 days before we were recording this, has finally agreed or has finally filed for divorce against good old Danny, which, fuck yeah. Get the fuck out of that church, man. Get the fuck out of Scientology. There's so many people who are like trapped in there. And I've watched a bunch of people talk about
Oh my gosh, I know her. I didn't recognize her in that photo that from the article you're looking at. But yeah.
It's John Phillips.
She's in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, she was an actress. She was in a few other things. She was in Almost Famous and Hostel, one of the Hostel movies. Maybe both of them, I think. But she has been, I think her father was John Phillips. Yeah, she's got some famous relatives in there too.
Right.
So she has finally agreed to divorce Danny Masterson, which is great. So we've talked about, like I said, a bunch of other Scientology members. They've talked about some people, if you kind of get on the TikTok holes about that, you can really fall into some ex-Scientologists who are coming out and explaining a lot of things that go on inside the church that the members don't even know about.
It's not a secret no more, man. It's like, not. Do you want to move up fast in Hollywood and make money in a brilliant religious pyramid scheme? Then here you go. Or do you not?
Because when you see those celebrities like Tom Cruise or you see John Travolta, those people in the Scientology
benefit
groups,
greatly from it.
They are treated like royalty. They're treated like emperors.
Of course they like it.
They are given everything. They're flown out to wherever in black tie and 5-star. But the majority of the Scientology members of the church have no idea, like even the full, like what the levels entail. And we only know these things because members have come out and actually given those testimonies.
Right. They're still saving up to find out what each level is.
Yeah, they can. The bulk of their members can't even afford to learn about the Xenu
right?
stuff.
No.
So
they don't even reach the alien parts.
But yeah, like Michael did say earlier about Masterson, he was actually first accused of the rape in 2017. So yeah, it has been several years since these allegations have been brought against him, and they kind of got swept under the rug.
Right.
A couple of years ago, the fire kind of burned out because it was right in the middle of the Me Too movement, and there were lots of different claims and allegations, and lots of people getting their feet held to the fire for things. And kind of he may have gotten overshadowed by things like Weinstein and some of the other bigger names of those things, but now, after some of that has died down, they've been like, no, we still want Hyde. Like, he fucked our lives up.
Right.
So I'm very glad to see that he is finally getting held to the fire. He's been finally charged.
It's fucked up, man.
And just to see how much the Church of Scientology tried to push this down and tried to keep the church out of the headlines, tried to keep his relationships out of the headlines. But yeah, it's all come full circle now. And a lot of his other cast members have kind of had to take a step back as well. Good old Topher Grace. Good for Topher Grace, the one who's just like, fuck them. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I'll hang out. I never hung out with them anyway.
He's like, I'm trying to distance myself from them.
Like even back in the early 2000s, everyone was like, Topher, why don't you hang out with the rest of the cast? He was like, I don't know, they rape? I don't know, they kind of rapey? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of one of the bigger headlines that was kind of coming around over the summer and stuff. So we were kind of following that. We weren't really covering it during our weekly headlines. We were kind of covering a bunch of lighthearted stuff. So
True Crime Recaps did a great video on this. They really did. It really opened my eyes to it. That was the first video that I dived into. If you guys don't know them on YouTube, they're massive. They're a great source too of doing exactly what they do. A True Crime Recap, they can give you like all the good stuff, all the bones, all the important shit. But yeah, if you want to find out what Danny Masterson did, and to a fuller extent, it's pretty rough. I didn't want to believe it at first. I really didn't. But the details and how specific these retellings are, it's and there's evidence of it. Obviously, I mean, he's been convicted. Basically, what he would do is he would bring women back to his apartment. He would give them something, a very strong drink. Suggest a shower, and if they accepted the shower, he took that as an invitation to basically have his way with them. And if they protested in any way, after the shower, he held a gun to one woman's head. Another woman he choked out until she blacked out, and then proceeded to have his way with her. Like this is as bad as it gets when it comes to sexual predators. It really is.
That's what I was about to say. He is a predator.
He is a sexual predator.
This was not a one-time thing. This was not an attack one time. This was a predatory behavior. And yeah, there's multiple accounts and all kinds of things.
Yeah. Also, something else worth mentioning before we move on to our other story. I learned this in True Crime Recaps as well. Because the thumbnail is very clever, right? People get really risque with the thumbnails these days, but you got to get people to click, right? Or they don't even know if they won't even give your content a chance. But it's had a picture of Danny Masterson, and it had an arrow pointing to him, and it said link to a serial killer. And I was like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, how is Danny Masterson even worse now? Linked to a serial killer. Well, the way he was linked to a serial killer was the night that Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend was killed. This is a whole different story. Maybe we cover this. He was killed by the Hollywood Ripper. Ashton Kutcher's, the night his girlfriend was killed, he called Hyde, and apparently I'm calling him Hyde. He called Danny Masterson, and it was on speakerphone, and one of Danny's victims was there, and she claims that she overheard this scheme or this plan that Danny and Ashton had, and then just so happened that same night, Ashton's girlfriend was killed. And that's all she alludes to. And that's all they alluded to in True Crime Recaps, too. There's no proof that they connected anything, but she did write a letter to Ashton, basically kind of blackmailing him in a way. Not really blackmailing him, I guess just saying, like, I know who you are, and you're just as bad as Danny.
Yeah. And to be clear too, that they're not saying that
total speculation, but
there's no accusing that Ashton Kutcher killed his girlfriend. No. That's not the accusation. It's the accusation of like that maybe he found her and he didn't report it properly, and he wanted to save face and didn't want to be attacked, like didn't want to be associated. So him and Danny Masterson tried to like kind of formulate how do I get this out without being attached to it and not reporting it like. So it wasn't like did he kill his girlfriend? It's more or less like you tried to get out of this.
Right.
You tried to hide from that your girlfriend was murdered after you guys were having like fights and problems and.
No, we don't know. We don't know what she's alluding to. I mean,
yeah, she was just like you were.
We really don't know.
But I do believe that they have kind of proven that his girlfriend was murdered by the Hollywood Ripper.
Absolutely.
So it's not like there is any allegations of Ashton Kutcher being a serial killer.
No. That's not what I'm alluding to at all. That's not
yet.
Right. That's not what I was alluding to at all. I'm just saying it's just all speculation. It is a weird coincidence. It's a weird coincidence that she would mention that night later, but in hindsight, she knows what happened. So maybe she's just trying to shed bad light on Ashton because he won't speak up against Danny.
Or that he is
because he doesn't, because to be fair, he's not saying anything negative.
He's
about
defending Danny. He just keeps writing. He wrote the character letters about him. He's not standing up for the victims. He's not. He's defending his friends.
Right. So. That's safe to say. That's what's happening. But I mean, he doesn't have to be connected to this. A friend makes a mistake. A bad mistake, lots of them. But, I mean, I don't see why Ashton Kutcher should have to pay that price just because at once he looked up to him. People can be somebody else in public. People can be somebody else just around different people.
Yeah.
Much less actors.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think
let's not forget what they're paid to do.
Yeah,
they can deceive people.
It's a lot of speculation here and there about who all's involved and what cast members knew what and what friends knew what, but that's a completely different case and trial, and that's all the kind of speculation. But
yeah,
so that was our main headline for tonight for the first case of our headline shenanigans. It's not so much shenanigans. That's actually a big headline and a really good thing to see. To finally see that guy get his his just desserts, to get his feet held to the fire, and to be not to be kind of glorified like, oh, he's just a cool, chill actor. No, he's not. He was a predator.
No, that's not cool, man.
So yeah, we're gonna move on to our next story now, and this next one was something that Michael directly was like, "We're talking about this.
We're talking about it.
We're talking. I don't care what you had planned.
Now we're getting into the shenanigans.
I don't care what you had planned. We talking about booty. I don't care what was on your schedule.
That's right. Get
booty
it off.
takes precedence.
That's right. That's right. As
Booty.
Fleece Johnson would have you believe.
As our next story, Mr. Fleece Johnson would have you believe.
Fleece Johnson. He's on the loose.
Booty is more important than water. Booty is more important than food.
That's right.
Booty is the most important thing ever.
And apparently he speaks for everyone in the prison.
Apparently he was. They granted him like spokesperson.
Right.
Like, he speaks for all of us, and then he starts talking. They're like, he does.
Wait, hold on. All right, let's give him some little background because not everybody knows who Fleece Johnson is. Not everybody's seen Boondocks. Brilliant portrayal of him on there. It's incredibly accurate. We'll play the clips in a little bit, but let's give the listeners a little bit of background on Fleece, the Booty Warrior Johnson, Andy.
Yeah, Fleece, the Booty Warrior Johnson. You guys, if you have followed some of the stuff from a long time ago, this guy made his appearance in a documentary about the prison system I think it was like the late 90s or early 2000s. But this guy served in the prison system for over 40 years before being released. So this guy is a lifetime, inmate. He has been in prison more time than he's been out.
He went to prison at like 15, 16. It's depending on what you read. And he had a sexual experience with another inmate there. And he claims that kind of morphed his sexuality. And that in part of basically being like a Charles Bronson type character where he kept getting in trouble in prison over and over and over again. So he turned, what would have been maybe 2 years into basically a lifetime sentence of 40 years.
Yeah,
so.
He just kind of felt like he just did better in prison after a while. That's who he became, and that's the life he chose to live. Well, I'm actually surprised he's out. I'm surprised he wasn't like, nah, I'm going to stay. Nah, I'm gonna stay.
Right.
Nah, fuck you. I'll punch you on the way out.
I don't know if he's happy right now. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah, if you guys haven't remembered it, he was in a documentary for Locked Up Raw, the convict code.
Locked Up Raw.
So Locked Up. There's been a few different variations of the Locked Up Abroad, Locked Up, and world's worst prisons type deals. But,
right.
He went into this documentary and he was telling some kind of crazy stuff, and he was kind of saying, like, stay out of trouble, you'll end up in prison. They done heard all that shit, and that shit don't register. What I'm going to tell them, it's going to shock you to your core. And he went on to shock America, as we will then tell you. And if you guys remember the Boondocks TV series back in the day, his character, there was a character on that show that was directly lifted from Fleece Johnson. Like, they saw this interview on Locked Up Raw, and they were like, put him in the show.
We are putting him in the show.
So this guy right here, he gave a really great interview on this series, and we're going to play his original clip real fast, and then we'll show you how his character got onto Boondocks as well. But this was how he became the most the Booty Warrior.
This is the most infamous clip for sure.
Yeah, this is the Booty Warrior making himself known to the public.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I like you, and I want you, and we can do it the easy way or the hard way. So the choice is yours, right?
The choice is yours.
Oh, Lord.
So if that sounds familiar to any of our listeners, it's because it's a direct quote you've heard before.
Yes. The Boondocks took his exact quote and put it in an episode. And Fleece got upset about it. He actually, in multiple interviews, he's talked about how they misrepresented his character, how that was not him at all. Okay, so let's play the clip, Andy, and let's see.
So you just saw what Fleece that was Fleece Johnson's words. Now let's hear his character on the Boondocks.
Let's hear how different it is.
Now I tell you what, I like you, and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
Now,
That's spot on, man.
I don't see where he might see the disconnect. I don't hear what he's hearing, but
No.
I hear Fleece Johnson. I hear
Fleece Johnson.
I hear the booty warrior.
That's a direct quote, and you were already out saying that quote on a documentary, right? It's not like, they got that from some security footage in the prison and then decided to exploit you with that quote. It's like, nah, you wanted people to know that quote. And so he took the exact quote and put it in the show. And yeah, he got kind of upset about it, but what did he do?
That was kind of his thing. Like, I'm going to shock them to their core. Like, he then proceeded to tell the interviewer about how in this prison, booty was more important than food. Johnson said, booty, a man's butt. It was more important than, I'm serious, booty. Having some booty is more important than drinking water. Man, when I see one and he looks good to me, I say, hey, you, come here. I'm going to tell you. And then he goes into that whole thing. He's like, and it's always a yes. I don't think it's always a yes. I don't think it's always a yes.
I don't think so. I just couldn't help but think of how much fun I could have with those sound bites of you, Andy, just saying all of that. I just got the most gold sound bites.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
It's all on camera. It's all on clips. It's all in the weird net.
He claimed that no one turned him down. I don't believe that. Listen, this man is 5'7" and he's 170 pounds. Okay? Nobody turned. I don't believe that.
Yeah,
or like me and Andy talked about it before. Like maybe he only asked people that he knew he could overpower.
Yeah.
Now that's a totally different question right there.
He's not a 5'7" Stallone in Rocky 2. He's not that type of build.
No.
But yeah, like he said, this guy, like 13 years later, Johnson stands on his statements because both of those clips are an actual interview.
Yeah.
He said, Johnson said in one of his latest interviews, to me, ass is ass. It don't make a difference to me where it comes from. You get 30 years in prison. You don't care about where your booty comes from.
I disagree. I think he's gay.
I
disagree.
I think he likes men.
Mm-hmm.
I think he doesn't want to just say I'm gay. And that's.
He's from a different time.
He's from a different time.
Listen, he went in prison at 15, 16 years old, and then was in there for 40 years.
So yeah,
he is from a completely different time. You didn't say you were gay at that time. That's the truth.
So for just the time reference, Johnson was sentenced to 10 years in prison in 1979 for armed robbery.
See what I mean?
So 1979, and in the 80s, another 18 years were added for prison sexual involvement and first-degree violence. Another 20 years were added in the 1990s for assaulting a prison officer.
Which he claims was sexual as well.
But yeah, that's
not like fighting.
That's kind of how Michael said, like the Charles Bronson type character. He's become a character in prison. He's become a famous inmate.
Charles Bronson wasn't raping people, though, was he?
No, Charles Bronson was just beating people, and more or less he was fighting the guards.
Yeah,
he was being like, "I'm just going to grease myself up."
He was more like, "Fuck the system, you can't control me" type of prisoner.
Yeah, I'm just going to make your day miserable. I'm just going to fuck your day up. Like he had the whole mentality of just like, either you keep me in here or I'm going to go out and I'm going to come right back. Yeah. Because whatever they tell me out there, I'm not going to do either.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do 100 push-ups and fuck you up, mate.
Listen, I'm going to do push-ups while I'm fucking you up. I'm going to be one-handed push-up and one-handed punching you in the head.
Right. Yeah,
That's the Charles Bronson workout. But yeah, this guy right here was a legitimate character. And you see him now, like he's given a full interview recently. He's an older man now. I think he's probably in his 60s or late 70s maybe. I don't exactly know how old he is, but like I said, 1979 is when he went into prison, and he is now free after 40 years.
Yeah.
And
he's free.
The booty warrior is free, baby. Booty warrior.
Imagine getting a notification on your phone that a predator has moved into your neighborhood. And his name is Fleece Johnson.
And then you see the pictures like, who is this? Oh my God! He went after Chris Hansen.
Chris Handsome, you mean?
I see you, Chris Hansen. I know who you are.
I call you Chris Handsome.
I calls you Chris Hansen. That's
another part of the Boondocks clip.
I had only ever seen that growing up, so I hadn't previously seen the Locked Up interview.
Yeah, me either.
That clip was part of me and my friend's zeitgeist for so long, just to walking in and being like, oh, I know why you're here. Like every time someone came in, and be like, hey man, oh, I know why you're here.
I know why you're here. Yeah.
I like you and I want you. Like that was just a common phrase. And I was just like, I thought that was a Boondocks character. I had no idea until recently that was a real man.
They base a lot of their characters on real people, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. The
Yeah,
Boondocks
yeah,
had some real
yeah.
characters and stuff in there. I mean, probably the most unrealistic characters were Charlie Murphy and Sam Jackson's characters.
Yeah.
I can't remember their names.
Oh my
Jim
God.
Rummy and who was
Oh
the other
my
one?
God, Jim Rummy.
Wellington the Third or something.
Yes, yes, the rich guy's kid.
Yeah, the
Oh
two.
my
They were just
God.
like the most
Can't remember his freaking
obscene
name.
characters on the show. And it's like, of course, it's Sam Jackson and
Of
it's
course,
Charlie Murphy.
Of course, and Stinkmeaner. Stinkmeaner is a crazy character.
Yeah, that show
One
is
of my
a
favorites.
plethora of amazing characters and just a wonderful cast of just like colorful things. But yeah, I never knew that was a real person, and that just it kind of made my day to be like, he's real.
And he's loose.
He's
oh,
real.
dang.
Oh my God. It's like seeing a cryptid. It's like seeing a mythical creature like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're real. I didn't know it. I did not know this. But yeah,
That's right.
that
Listen,
was,
the Booty Warrior is real, and he's out there, people.
yeah, this was. I kind of was thinking about the famous, hide your kids, hide your wives, but this was more like hide your sons, hide your husbands, because the Booty Warrior is free, and if he sees you,
Yeah.
he wants you.
Well, if he likes you,
If he likes you and he wants you.
it's not good. It's not good for you.
No, but
yeah.
like I said, those were kind of our two main, pretty big headlines and shenanigans.
Yeah.
I did have another shenanigans story.
I think we got time for one more.
I wanted to bring a kind of
Yeah.
somewhat local
Okay.
shenanigan for our area.
Uh-oh.
Because this caught my eye this past week, and it just made me think of how many just treasure hunters are out now in South Carolina looking for this gold. Because, guys, in South Carolina, the U.S. military is now asking the public to help find a missing $80 million stealth fighter jet
Let me
after
help
the
find it.
pilot ejected over South Carolina.
Oh my God.
So if you guys haven't seen anything about this so far,
Yeah.
it just made me think of all the rednecks in South Carolina and Georgia and North Carolina who are just just fucking booking it down to South
I got
Carolina.
access to a tractor and a trailer, guys. We can scoop this thing up. Y'all in South Carolina, let me know where it's at.
Anybody got anybody got an airplane hangar? We can get this thing back in there.
We'll
I
get this
promise
thing.
you.
Hey,
Listen, you can't wait
really,
till
we
deer
probably
season.
just need like a part of it, right? And the material itself. You take that to the scrapyard, and they're gonna be like, Jesus Christ, how did you get this?
Where did you get a chunk of titanium the size of a car? What is this, pure platinum? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Why is it not metallic? Why is it not magnetic? What the fuck?
This is not even an Earth element.
An F-35
Mm-hmm.
aircraft went missing somewhere over South Carolina.
Yeah, somewhere.
On Sunday. And the U.S. military is searching for its missing $80 million stealth fighter, and they need you to help them find
This
it.
has got to be a test or something. Don't go looking for it. Don't
Oh
go
my
looking.
God.
Because you tell me they ain't got tracking on this thing.
Yeah, where's the black box?
What?
I've heard
Come
about the black
on,
box. I watched
man.
Lost. I saw
Come on.
Lost. They
It's
all had
the
to get the black box.
military.
Get the black box.
Bro, there ain't a truck riding around. There ain't a city worker in your city right now riding around in a vehicle that doesn't have a tracker on it.
Yeah.
And that's local government. The military's got, like, this don't even make no sense unless it was completely destroyed on impact.
Yeah, or some kind of, if maybe like a total system
Even so,
failure.
you
to
have,
where...
tracking, right? Recorded tracking of
You have radar
where
in the
it
area.
was.
Well, that's the thing. It's a stealth plane, so it's not going to show up on radar. So it's not going to be on like a normal flight log because it's also a test plane. Because on Sunday, Joint Base Charleston Air Base in South Carolina noted multiple social media posts that it was assisting in the Marine Corps' Air Station Beaufort in searching for a missing F-35B Lightning II after it was involved in a mishap. The pilot ejected safely and was transferred to a local medical center in stable condition, but the public is asked to cooperate with military and civilian authorities in the effort to locate the plane. Like, I got to know.
That's a bad idea, man.
Like total system failure, EMP, some kind of it just disappeared, like black hole. Like,
Yeah.
where was he flying? I mean, it's only going to coast for so long. I mean, it's not like it's going to be autopiloting, drifting somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
It can't land on its own. It's either going to crash and someone's going to notice a fucking jet plane
I don't know.
crashing
There's a
in their
lot.
backyard.
There's a lot of open country in South Carolina, though, Andy. Depending on where it was. Seriously, like, I mean, if it's near the coast, it's probably going to hit a city. But I mean, the middle.
That's what they were.
Come on.
A part of the tweets that were kind of put out. Some of the Joint Base.
Where are they at?
locates,
Where's
they
it
were
at?
saying, based on the jet's last known position and in coordination with the FAA, we're focusing most of our attention north of JB Charleston around
Okay.
Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. So possibly this 35 or $80 million stealth plane is lying in the bottom of a local fishing spot right now.
But
And there's a bunch of rednecks down there trying to scrape some scrap off of that thing.
Yeah, seriously. But it
I'm
says
telling you.
north of Charleston?
North of JB Charleston. So yeah, I guess that's the Joint Base Charleston. That's where they were originally looking for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're looking around Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. I'm not familiar with either one of those lakes, but I said some local fishing hole, I'm guessing. And there's a bunch of divers down
Yeah.
there right now trying to make whatever scrap money they can.
I'm going to look up one of the lakes.
Like I said, some redneck thought deer season was about to be magical this year. And he was just going to be picking a bunch of herds off from the sky. But yeah, for some reason, we haven't determined yet, the aircraft's transponder was not functional, making yet more difficult to locate the fighter jet, which features stealth technology that deliberately hides it from radar systems.
I guess I should have waited for the details. All right, so Lake Marion and Lake Moultrie. Let's see where they are here. They are very close to the coast. They are just north of Charleston.
So yeah, those are pretty large
but
bodies
still
of water.
pretty
but
close
either
to the
way,
coast, man.
Like I said, if this thing landed somewhere or crashed somewhere, you had somebody being saying there's a plane crashing. A plane just crashed nearby somewhere. There's small towns. There's small.
Look at all this
areas.
open land over here, though, man. In between these interstates,
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. I mean, there's this huge open area of land that's right near the lakes, and there's little bodies of water within them. There's no roads cutting through there. Nothing.
Nope. And that's the thing. When you go through South Carolina, if you're around that area, you especially go towards those old tobacco fields and along the plantation areas, there's just land for like amazing plots of land that they haven't developed on. They're just countrysides, and there's just large forest areas that are still around there. So these massive lakes that are around there, they're not the size of like the Great Lakes or anything, but these things right here, like I said, that thing is either at the bottom of one of these lakes, and whoever found it is not going to tell you. Because I don't think there's a reward for it. Like, I don't think the military is like, we'll give you 10%. Like, I don't think there's like a finder's fee. I think it's more or less like, great job. Thanks for getting our plane back to us.
They're going to find it, man.
So I think if any locals have found it so far, they're not telling anybody yet. I think they're trying to figure out
how do you
what
hide
they
a
can-
fighter jet? Well, I mean, it is stealth.
Oh, there's plenty of people around there. They got a big enough shed in their backyard. They got a barn somewhere.
Right.
They can hide that.
You enact the mirror cloaking device, and then you just push it home.
What was like the movie The Iron Giant? We're gonna put this in a scrapyard somewhere. Hide it with a tarp. Put some art around it. It's gonna be an art piece. Nobody will know.
Nobody will know.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. It's
Who's
an art
gonna
piece. It's definitely not an $80 million weapon of mass destruction.
Right? And there's a good chance it could be at the bottom of either of these lakes. These lakes are massive.
Yeah. So like I said, this was just a great little shenanigan in our neck of the woods, just to imagine the military just being like, hey, so we lost a plane, like kind of around your area, like in your neighborhood. If you've
guys see
seen
anything?
it,
Right?
maybe let us know. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Let us know. It's kind of one of those things like, who do you think is calling you? It's the only people who are going to call you is if law enforcement finds it. If some although I'm also kind of considering that there's some local law enforcement officers or local law enforcement departments who are like, you're telling me we could get a plane? You're telling me we could get a
can get a plane?
F-35 stealth jet? I mean, I don't know if that's in the budget, but
like,
if
listen.
we find it,
We throw us a Myrtle Beach PD paint job on that bad boy, and that's ours.
I mean, we can throw a sky sign in the back of that thing, just zipping across the sky. We'll say it's advertising.
That's right. I mean, yeah, along the beach, Charleston and Myrtle Beach area, people would believe that. Planes are flying by all the time,
part of the
pulling
air show.
stupid
It's part of-
banners
yeah.
and guard stupid shit.
Like I said, there's just some local police departments who are like, wait a minute, if we find it, can we keep it? Like, can we have it? Like,
Right.
because I think that would be great if we had a stealth jet.
Yeah, right. Every police department needs a stealth jet.
Yeah, it needs an F-35,
Just what
$80
they
million
need down
stealth
there.
jet.
Freaking Charleston.
Charleston, like I said, guys, I've always considered South Carolina to be Florida light. Like, it is just right there on the cusp of being Florida. They just
Especially
don't
Myrtle
have-
Beach.
Yeah, they just don't have... Myrtle Beach is Daytona Beach light. That's all it is. It is. South Carolina just doesn't have the law that allows all the crimes to be public. But every few years, South Carolina threatens to succeed or something like that. They're always just like, we don't want to be here. We're like, we didn't ask you to stay.
You're the reason we can't just be Carolina.
You're the reason there's not one team. There's not...
All right.
You're
Well,
just
guys,
a buffer between Georgia. That's all you are.
That's right. Well, guys, we appreciate you stopping by, and we're obviously kidding. If you're from South Carolina, we love our neighbors to the south down there. Come on, Andy. We live right on the line too. It's like half the time I'm in South Carolina anyway. So, but guys, thanks for sticking around here on Headlines and Shenanigans. As always, just like with every free episode, you can catch this in video form on YouTube. And if you're already watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when we release a new episode, which is, I can already tell you, it's every Wednesday. It's every Wednesday, unless we say otherwise. Every once in a while, we take a week off, but it's few and far between.
And you'll start seeing some more of those YouTube shorts on there as well. So
that's
start
right.
seeing those rolling around as well. We'll start dropping more of those almost like a daily basis. So you'll see little clips here and there. But yep, every episode, Wednesday on YouTube.
That's right
there. So guys, like I said, like, subscribe, share, get the notifications. We want to keep making these videos. We want to keep doing more production stuff for you guys. So.
Absolutely. And guys, every Monday, new episodes of Strange and Unexplained in video form as well on YouTube. So if you listen to that podcast form or whatever, you can also catch that in video form now as well on the True Crime Guys channel. But yeah, we'll be back next week, guys, with a new TCG proper episode. If you want more content until then, you can always check out Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. For just $2 a month, you get access to all of our back catalog, as well as every Patreon exclusive that we had ever done. Speaking of Patreon exclusives, we just did one this week. That's why we're doing Headlines and Shenanigans. So if you want to catch the new True Crime Guys episode, it is on Patreon. There is a link below the description of this episode. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Andy, you got anything?
The only other thing is, if you are a Patreon member, we did also announce on Patreon, Sandu Stories is coming back relatively soon. We are about to finish our series on the Deja Vu. I always tongue twist.
Deja Vu.
We're going to be finishing that on Patreon, so if you guys aren't already a subscriber, jump on there, check out the previous Sandu stories, get caught up on all that before the new episodes drop.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, until next week, keep creeping.
Bye.